Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Mishtipada Paramapsa Partarya Sutta Sri Srimad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayo Mishtipada Paramapsa Partarya Sutta Sri Srimad Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Natyagoshi Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. Namatari Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prince Koho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Veta Gadhar Sri Vasta Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopina Shamakun Radhakun Guman Ki Jai. Verdama Dhamma Ki Jai. Mathura Dhamma Ki Jai. Navdvipa Dhamma Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhamma Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Yangamaya Ki Jai. Gangamaya Ki Jai. Savita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Yato Yamitato Nrsimha Bahir Nrsimha Hridaya Nrsimha Narasingha Nadim Sharanam Prapadye Tavakarakamallavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Talita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhriyam Keshavadrita Hari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam Talita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhriyam Keshavadrita Nari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Lord Nrsingadev Ki Jai, Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Nice to see you, Prabhu. Nice to see you.
Same here. Same here.
Your Narsinga Arati is so nice. It's like
You like
Narsinga Dev.
it?
Narsinga Dev will appear very soon there.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, I guess.
Yeah,
I'll be right back.
Sure, Prabhu.
Okay, I'm gonna flip you over.
Sure.
Jeez, my knee. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Alrighty, Bhagavad Gita class. Start with introduction prayer, page 1. Omajana Termadasya Gyana Dhyana Salakya Shaktumlitam Yanatasme Sukarave Namaha Shite Chanyamano Bishtam Sapitam Yana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapanitikam Mandeham Shiguru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guna Vaishnavascha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raguna Navitam Tasajevam Savetam Sadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkana Vitsamcha. Would you like to give them a Bhagavad Gita? Looks like they're going to say, yeah, we'll get you a couple Bhagavad Gitas. We're having a Bhagavad Gita class right now. Yeah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Jagapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapa Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindas Vanesvare Vasbanu Sute Devi Pram Namami Hare Priye Pancha Kapatara Bunyascha Kripa Sindhu Ivascha Patitanam Pavanabayo Vaishnavayo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadhar Shri Vastagur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, welcome. Generally, about this time of night, we have a Bhagavad Gita class every night. Is this your first time to the temple? Oh, okay. Where are you from? Huh? Oh, okay. Nice to have you here. We have a Sunday feast here every Sunday. Starts at 4:00 and served out at 6. You're always invited to come. Okay, so we are on chapter 2, contents of the Gita summarized, starting at text 50. It should be on page 135. What we do here at Rupanuga Vedic College, we read 11 texts. Read the Sanskrit and the translation. That way we hear the entire Gita in a 3-month time. And then we go back to the first verse that we read of the night and read the purport and then have a lecture. So text 50. Buddhi yukto janati ube sukra dakshe tasmad yogena yojavasya yoga karmasu kasalam. Translation: a man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, O Arjuna, which is the art of all work. Text 51. Kamajam buddhi yuktahi palam tayakva manishnaha yanam vada Vinirmukta padam gachanti anamanyam. Translation: the wise engaged in devotional service take refuge in the Lord and free themselves from the cycle of birth and death by renouncing the fruits of action in the material world. In this way they contain a state of beyond all miseries. Text 52. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vetitarsyati tadagantashi nivedam shritovatasya shrutasya cha. Translation: when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Text 53. Shruti vipratpanate yada sitasyati nischala samadahav achala buddhis tada yogam apasyasi. Translation: when your mind is no longer disturbed by flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Text 54. Arjuna vacha sahita pragyasya kapasya samadhi sitasya keshava Sita di kim prabhasita kim isita rajeta kim. Translation: Arjuna said, what are the symptoms of those whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk? Text 55. Sri Bhagavanu vacha Prajati yada kaman sarvam parta manogatan atmani ivatmana tushya sihita pragyas tadochyate. Translation: the Blessed Lord said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Text 56. Dukesya anudivyinamana sukeshu vigata sripa Pita Raga Baya Koda Sita Dir Munir Uchyate. Translation: one who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. Text 57. Ya sarvatran vishnishas tata prapya subhashubham nabhinanidati na disati tasya pragya prashiti. Translation: he who is without attachment, who does not rejoice when he obtains good, nor lament when he obtains evil, is firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. Text 58. Yada samarte chayam krumo nigivniva sarvasya indraya yatepayas tasya bragya patishita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws his limbs within the shell is to be understood as truly situated in knowledge. Text 59. Vishayas vinvaryate narasya dihina rasha varjam rasopi asya param drisva nivartate. Translation: the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, though the taste for sense objects remains. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. Text 60. Yatato hi api kanteya purushayas vipashita indrayani pramatini aranti prasapan mana. Translation: the senses are so strong in impetus, O Arjuna, that they forcibly carry away the mind, even a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them. Our final text for the evening is text 61. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta ashita matpara vasehi yashena jayanani tasya pragya pratishita. Translation: one who restrains his senses and fixes his consciousness upon me is known as a man of steady intelligence. Returning to text 50. Text 50, translation. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, O Arjuna, which is the art of all work. Purport. Since time immemorial, each living entity has accumulated the various reactions of his good and bad work. As such, he is continuously ignorant of his real constitutional position. One's ignorance can be removed by the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita, which teaches one to surrender unto Lord Sri Krishna in all respects and become liberated from the chain victimization of action and reaction, birth after birth. Arjuna is therefore advised to act in Krishna consciousness and purify the process of the resultant action. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Om. A man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad actions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, O Arjuna, which is the art of all work. That's the thing about in this being born in this material world. We probably have spent millions and millions of lifetimes accumulating karma, both good and bad karma, which basically dictates, what's going to happen to us. Good things could happen to us, bad things that happen to us. But devotional service is the only way to get rid of this karma. Because we don't really want karma. We don't want good karma, we don't want bad karma. This new age kind of stuff these days, especially here in the US, they're always talking about, we've got to do things for good karma. But that's just further binding us to this world, whether it's good or bad. I mean, sure, you get a lot of good karma, you can, maybe get up to the heavenly planets, be reborn there. But, that's just a debt being repaid. Eventually, you fall back down. The heavenly planets are nice. You have all the, sense desire, all you want, heavenly, all the blissful stuff going on there. But eventually, you die and you come back here. And, take the chance of being reborn into any of the 8,400,000 forms of species. Bad karma. You get enough bad karma, you end up sometimes in a hellish planet, in a hellish birth, until your debt's repaid and you go through the cycle again and eventually get to human birth. Gorni Jai Ki Jai. But devotional service is meant to purify those actions. And by performing devotional service, we're not accumulating any more karma or good karma or bad karma. We're trying to get down to zero karma through devotional service, through being purified through devotional service. Zero karma. So in essence, when we're in here doing kirtan, when we're doing service for Krishna, when we're chanting the holy names, we are literally changing our future. Our future has already been preset by karma, by our past actions. But through devotional service, we're actually changing the history of that. We're eliminating these future actions that are supposed to be repaid. We're breaking the chains that are binding us here to this world. Because as long as we have karma, we got to be reborn in this world, because this karma's got to be repaid, whether good or bad. And the same thing that goes along with desire. Through devotional service, we're learning how to desire Krishna. Krishna's here trying to fulfill all of our desires. He's so merciful. So, this world, this material world that we live in, we've all gotten lost, chasing after our desires. All these souls in this world, are pretty much lost, chasing after their desires day after day, year after year, lifetime after lifetime. Lost. I like to say that we are our own worst enemies when we're chasing our desires. Devotional service helps transform our desires to desire Krishna only. Because if we only desire Krishna, Krishna is going to fulfill that desire. He's going to give himself to us. But the more that we are chasing our desires in the material world, chasing after silly things that don't last. Think about it. all these things in this material world that we're striving to get because we want that little bit of happiness. But that happiness is a fleeting moment. You know, you can catch it, boop, then it's gone. Just poof, it's gone. You know, as soon as you catch it, it's gone. You know, every single time. You know, no matter what you do. You know, you could go out and watch your favorite movie. You know, that brings you a little bit of joy. After you watch it 1,000 times, that joy is just not coming back anymore. It's a depreciating value to it. Same thing with about anything in this material world. Take your favorite food, you know. It brings you a little bit of joy when you eat it. Well, what happens if you had to have your favorite food every single day for the rest of your life? It's a depreciating value to it. You begin to get tired of it, just like, oh, I already had that the past 14 days. I want something else. That's the thing about this material world is all these little bits of happiness that you get through sense enjoyment. It's empty happiness because it doesn't stick around. It doesn't stay with you. As soon as you get it, it's poof, gone. Devotional service, on the other hand, devotional service to Krishna, that's something that grows with you. At first, many people, you know, to take up this path, you know, it can seem a little bitter. You know, long kirtans, you know, doing a lot of the same programs day after day. Many people, you know, they get bored easily. Their mind is wandering because their senses are so conditioned to the material world. These quick, you know, the quick little bits of happiness that they're chasing after all the time that doesn't last. But once the senses become purified, you stick with it and give the chance that just senses become purified, your karma becoming purified. The more that you become purified, you get to a point that all of a sudden the bitterness goes away and everything becomes a sweet nectar. From listening to the kirtan, to doing your japa meditation, chanting the holy names, seeing the deities, singing the prayers, doing devotional service, whether you're cooking, washing dishes, cleaning the floor, making garlands, whatever form of devotional service you're doing for Krishna, that also becomes sweet nectar. Something that grows with you. And it just keeps on growing the more that you engage yourself into it. Read the stories of our great personalities of a lot of our acharyas. You know, go back to the 6 Goswamis who did so many sacrifices and so many austerities, so many rounds, chanting so many rounds and so many prostrations. Eating very little, sleeping very little. Why were they doing that? Because they had developed the taste. The taste, they started tasting that sweet nectar of devotion. And it was growing with them. The more that they purified themselves, the more it grew. So many times that those who have developed the taste find new creative ways to extend their day, to try to put a little bit more service in each and every day, because that taste just continues to grow. That sweet nectar just continues to get better and better and better. It's a taste that you can't fake. you'll be able to see those who have developed that taste in life because they're always consumed in service. They will always try to find a way to do more service. Any questions or comments so far? Move on to text 51. The wise engage in devotional service, take refuge in the Lord, and free themselves from the cycle of birth and death by renouncing the fruits of action in the material world. In this way, they can attain the state beyond all miseries. Purport. The liberated living entities seek that place where there are no material miseries. The Bhagavatam says, Samsarshita ye pada palava plavam mahat padam punya yasom marahe bhavama pudir vachya padam 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 yad vipadam na tesham. Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 58. For one who has accepted the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is a shelter of the cosmic manifestation, and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of mukti, the ocean material world is like the water contained in a calf's footprint, padam padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life. Owing to ignorance, one does not know that this material world is a miserable place, where there are dangers in every step. Out of ignorance only, less intelligent persons try to adjust to the situation by fruitive activities, thinking the resultant actions will make them happy. They do not know that no kind of material body anywhere within the universe can give life without miseries. The miseries of life, namely birth, death, old age, and diseases, are present everywhere within the material world. But one who understands his real constitutional position as the eternal servitor of the Lord, and thus knows the position of the personality of Godhead, engages himself in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Consequently, he becomes qualified to enter the Vaikuntha planets, where there is neither material miserable life nor the influence of time and death. To know one's constitutional position means to know also the sublime position of the Lord. One who wrongly thinks that the living entity's position and the Lord's position are one and the same level is to be understood to be in darkness and therefore unable to engage himself in devotional service of the Lord. He becomes the Lord himself and thus paves the way for the repetition of birth and death. But one who understands that his position is to serve transfers himself to the service of the Lord and once becomes eligible for Vaikuntha Loka. Service to the cause of the Lord is called karma yoga or buddhi yoga, or in plain words, devotional service to the Lord. So here again, devotional service is trying to free us from this cycle of birth and death. This endless cycle of samsara. Because we take so many chances if we're not using our human body for devotional service to make advancement towards Krishna. If we're not using our body appropriately, who knows what we could come back as? Based on our karma, we come back as a pig. We come back as a goat. We come back as bugs. We come back as a dung beetle. I like to use the dung beetle. Puts things in perspective. Come back as a dung beetle. Push a big old ball of dung around all day. Everywhere you go, you have this big ball of dung you're pushing out in front of you. Make the ball of dung nice and big. Be proud of that big ball of dung. Imagine all these types of things that you can be reborn as. And the thing about it is, these sense desires, depending on your body, what kind of sense desires you're going to be born with. For instance, we were born as humans. Most humans don't desire to eat stool. Bugs do. Pigs do. So if you were born as like a bug or a pig or any one of those kinds of animals that enjoy stool, you'll have developed the senses for it, your sense desires for that. So many ways our sense desires in this lifetime is based upon past actions, past things that we have desired, that we undertake in past lives. That's why it's so important how to overcome our sense desires, how to overcome, these desires that we are born with. Because it's not something like be like, well, I'm not going to desire sweets anymore and just be done with it. It just doesn't work that way, It's we're powerless when it comes to our desires. And that's where we have to come to Krishna and beg Krishna every day. Oh, Krishna, please let me desire you more. I wish to desire you more than all my other material desires. When we start desiring Krishna more than our other material desires, it's easier to give up these other desires. When we start desiring Krishna more, we can actually walk away from these other material desires. It's like a garden that's growing. You're trying to grow these beautiful flowers of bhakti, beautiful flowers of devotional service in your garden. And there's weeds. These weeds are your material sense desires. Now, every time that you engage in your material sense desires and indulge in them, you're watering those weeds. Those weeds are getting nice and healthy. They're growing. But to be able to keep your devotional flowers growing, your bhakti flowers growing, you got to water that garden. When you're watering that garden, you're watering those weeds, those sense desires to wither away. So each and every day you're going out to your garden, you're trying to pull up the weeds so they're not growing and, choking out the bhakti. And you're letting your bhakti flowers grow and come to full bloom. By watering your bhakti flowers, you're chanting your 16 rounds a day. You're seeing the deities. You're following the instructions of the spiritual master. These are the things that it takes to have these bhakti flowers grow within you, to come to full bloom. To be able to have the chance to taste the nectar that Krishna is offering. Spiritual master is so important in this world. He's the one that helps bring down the grace of Krishna. Because it's only through Krishna's grace that we can make spiritual advancement. It's only through Krishna's grace that we can overcome our material desires. It's only through Krishna's grace that we can desire Him more. And this grace is handed down through the Paramparam system, through this lineage of acharyas, all the way down through the Guru. Just as I'm every day, praying to my Guru is praying to his Guru is praying to his Guru, and so forth, going all the way back to Krishna. So when you're a part of the system, when you've been initiated in the system and have taken on a guru, you have a whole line of acharyas praying for you because they all want you to come back home to Godhead. It's a beautiful thing about this system. The more that we give ourselves to Krishna, the more Krishna has given himself to us. That's the only way to capture Krishna. It's through pure loving devotion. Much like the story with Krishna the butter thief, you have Mother Yashoda finally catching Krishna stealing the butter. She's upset with him. She takes Krishna and tries to tie him to a mortar to punish him. She gets the rope out and starts trying to tie it, and it's 2 inches too short. She gets another rope out and ties it to that rope and tries to tie him up again, and it's still 2 inches too short. She keeps on doing this over and over and over. Continually coming up 2 inches too short, but because of her pure loving devotion for Krishna, Krishna allows himself to be captured, allows himself to be tied up. So in many ways, when we're performing devotional service, when we're trying to increase our desire for Krishna, we are being tied up be bound up with ropes of love with him. When we are indulging in our sense gratification, we're being chained to this world. We're being tied up to this world when we're indulging in our sense gratification. So through pure devotional service, we are able to break these chains. We are able to break this rope that's binding us to this world and tie ourselves to Krishna. Any questions or comments? Move on to text 52. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. Purport. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord and those who have become indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Krishna and his relationship with Krishna, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities, even though an experienced Brahmana, Sri Mahavendra Puri, a great devotee of Acharya in the line of devotees, says, Sandhya Vandana, my eyes are giving out on me. Radham Asta, Bhavato Bo Snana, Tubhyam Namo, Bodhiva Pitasha Cha Tarpana Vida Nama Shama Shamayatam Yatra Vapi Nishyadya Vada Yadava Kulota Madhyasya Kasma Dishva Samaram Smaram Agam Arami Tad Alam Lanye Kim Anyet Me. O Lord, in my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. Bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kasma, and therefore I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes. Comprehending all kinds of prayer 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Krishna consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulative principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord, Krishna, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices are recommended in the revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Krishna and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Krishna consciousness transcend the limits of Sabda Brahma or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads. Move on to text 53. When your mind is no longer disturbed by flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in the trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Purport. To say that one is in samadhi is to say that one has fully realized Krishna consciousness. That is, one in full samadhi has realized Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. The highest perfection of self-realization is to understand that one is eternally the servitor of Krishna, and that one's only business is to discharge one's duty in Krishna consciousness. A Krishna conscious person or unflinching devotee of the Lord should not be disturbed by flowery language of the Vedas, nor be engaged in fruitive activities for promotion to the heavenly kingdom. In Krishna consciousness, one comes directly into communion with Krishna, and thus all directions from Krishna may be understood in the transcendental state. One is sure to achieve the results by such activities and attain conclusive knowledge. One has to only carry out the orders of Krishna or his representative, the spiritual master. Text 54. Arjuna said, "What are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus immersed in transcendence? How does he speak, and what is his language? How does he sit, and how does he walk?" Purport. As there are symptoms for each and every man in terms of his particular situation, similarly one whose Krishna consciousness has particular nature, talking, walking, thinking, feeling, etc. As a rich man has his symptoms by which he is known as a rich man, as a diseased man has his symptoms by which he is known to be as diseased, or a learned man has his symptoms, so a man in transcendental consciousness of Krishna has specific symptoms in various dealings. One can know his specific symptoms from the Bhagavad Gita. Most important is how the man in Krishna consciousness speaks, for speech is the most important quality of any man. It is said that a fool is undiscovered as long as he does not speak, and certainly a well-dressed fool cannot be identified unless he speaks, but as soon as he speaks, he reveals himself at once. The immediate symptom of Krishna consciousness man is that he speaks only of Krishna and matters relating to him. Other symptoms then automatically follow as stated below. Text 55. The Blessed Lord said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be in pure transcendental consciousness. Report. The Bhagavatam affirms that any person who is fully in Krishna consciousness or devotional service to the Lord has all the good qualities of the great sages, whereas a person who is not so transcendentally situated has no good qualifications, because he is sure to be taking refuge in his own mental concoctions. Consequently, it is rightly said herein that One has to give up all kinds of sense desire manufactured by mental concoction. Artificially, such sense desires cannot be stopped. But if one is engaged in Krishna consciousness, then automatically sense desires subside without extraneous efforts. Therefore, one has to engage himself in Krishna consciousness without hesitation, for this devotional service will instantly help one on the platform of transcendental consciousness. The highly developed soul always remains satisfied in himself by realizing himself as the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. Such a transcendentally situated person has no sense desires resulting from petty materialism. Rather, he remains always happy in his natural position of eternally serving the Supreme Lord. So Krishna consciousness, by performing devotional service, as I was saying earlier, that's helping us free ourselves from these material desires that we have. Helping us free ourselves from all this past karma, from basically indulging in our material desires. Any action that's performed outside of Krishna consciousness, any action that's performed outside of devotional service, that's just an action that ends up binding us to this world. Any work that's performed outside of devotional service, that's just work that's just, gives us the karmic reaction to bind us to this world. Any questions or comments? We have time for one more verse here. Verse 56. One who is not disturbed in spite of the threefold miseries, who is not elated when there is happiness, and who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. The word muni means one who can agitate his mind in various ways for mental speculation without coming to a factual conclusion. It is said that every muni has a different angle of vision, and unless a muni differs from other munis, he cannot be called a muni in the strict sense of the term. Nashru muni yasha matam na binam. But Shahita the muni, as mentioned herein by the Lord, is different from an ordinary muni. The Sahita the Muni is always in Krishna consciousness, for he has exhausted all his business of creative speculation. He has surpassed the stage of mental speculation, has come to the conclusion that Lord Sri Krishna, or Vasudeva, is everything. He is called a Muni fixed in mind. Such a fully Krishna conscious person is not at all disturbed by the onslaughts of the threefold miseries, for he accepts all miseries as the mercy of the Lord. Think himself only worthy of more trouble due to his past misdeeds, and he sees that his miseries, by the grace of the Lord, are minimized to the lowest. Similarly, when he is happy, he gives credit to the Lord. Think himself unworthy of the happiness. He realized that it is due only to the Lord's grace, that he is in such a comfortable condition and able to render better service to the Lord. And for the service of the Lord, he is always daring and active, and is not influenced by attachment or aversion. Attachment means accepting things for one's own sense gratification. Detachment is the absence of such sensual attachment. But one fixed in Krishna consciousness has neither attachment nor detachment, because his life is dedicated in the service of the Lord. Consequently, he is not at all angry, even when he attempts are unsuccessful. A Krishna conscious person is always steady in his determination. Any last minute questions or comments before we wrap up the class? Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai.
Very nice.
Rapugna Prabhu. Awesome, right?
Jagannath Prabhu.
What is that above your head, Prabhu? That's Radha Raman, right?
Yes! Recognize it.
I love Radha Raman. It's such a
Same
cool
here.
story too.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful deity, and it's such a wow. You have a lot of them. Oh my gosh, Prabhu, there's a lot of Radha Raman. That's awesome. What's this
Yes,
one
Prabhu.
above your head right now? Is that the same thing, Radha Raman?
Yeah, it's a Radharani.
Oh, that one's Radharani. Okay.
Yeah. And here is my Tulsi.
Oh, wow. Oh, it's healthy. She's very healthy.
Yeah.
Wow. How long have you had that one for?
Yeah, Prabhu. I just had this, and here is my temple. Um. Yeah. Here is my temple.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's beautiful. That's nice.
Yeah.
And you do puja every morning and every night?
Yes, Prabhu. We do.
Wow. Yeah. I knew you would. Your Guru
Yes.
Maharaj is very strict about that, right? He wants all his householders to. Do you dress your deities?
No, no. I don't have that deities. It's just picture.
Picture deities. You don't have to
Yeah.
dress them though?
No, no.
Okay. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to get going, okay?
See you,
It's
Prabhu.
good to
Hare
see you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
See
Hare
you
Krishna.
this weekend. Hare Krishna.
All right, Krishna.